Welcome to the REI Freedom Podcast, where we unleash the power of real estate investing and empower you to create a life of freedom on your own terms. At REI Freedom, we provide high-level acquisition skills training and coaching to take your real estate game to the next level. Say goodbye to deal cancellations and hello to consistent success. Join us on the REI Freedom Podcast and unlock your potential and claim your freedom in real estate investing. Welcome to the REI Freedom Podcast, where real investors get real results. I'm Jeremy Beland, and each week we share the sales strategies, acquisition systems, and real-world experience behind nearly 500 off-market deals and more than $12 million in profits. Today's guest is Dan Rivers. Dan began his investing journey in 2018 and has since built experience across multiple markets, working with investors and opportunities around the country. In addition to traditional real estate investing, Dan is the founder of SynergyStays, a short-term rental revenue management company that helps investors and property management companies maximize profitability in the short-term rental space. His approach is grounded in an abundance mindset with a strong focus on collaboration, education, and building long-term wealth. In this episode, Jeremy and Dan talk about identifying value-add opportunities, navigating market trends, and how investors can think more strategically about revenue optimization, especially in short-term rentals, while building scalable, sustainable businesses. This episode is sponsored by our free guide, More Deals, Bigger Deals, and Less Cancellations. You can grab your copy at reifreedom.com/gift. Let's dive in.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another weekly episode here at the REI Freedom Podcast. I am your host, Jeremy Beland. So thankful to have you guys here each and every week. Our downloads keeps growing, our audience keeps growing. So thank you very much. As we're over 2 years of recording this podcast today, we have a local to me at one point. He's not a local anymore. Matter of fact, he's overseas in Portugal, traveling abroad, doing work and family and all kinds of stuff. Isn't real estate investing awesome? He's doing some stuff, but he took a few minutes out of his day to record this podcast. He's actually from the Charleston, South Carolina area, but he's an old Brockton native. So I hope that means he's still a Patriots fan, but we'll soon find out. Welcome to the show, Mr. Dan Rivers.
I appreciate you. Yes, diehard Pats fan. I'll tell you that. But yeah, thank you. I appreciate the nice intro. Loving it out here in Portugal and excited to talk. You know, we always talk about real estate investing and our whys and, why we're doing it, right? I love travel, and with the family, I get to live out my why we real estate invest. But thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Oh, man, it's an honor. It's a pleasure. Now, you started your journey back in 2005 as a real estate investor. Is that correct?
Yeah, on the real estate side, I did large scale property management for HOAs and condos up in Boston and down in Tampa for a little bit. But that was my first beginning part of the journey. I went into more on the investing side in 2018.
Okay, so you've been in real estate for 20 years. You've been in the investing side now for roughly 8 years as we record this here at the end of 2025. I mean, that's a lot of experience. You've seen a lot of up and downs. You saw the world crash like I did and I experienced in 2009, 8, 9, and 10. You saw COVID a couple of years happen after you got started. You saw the interest rates rise. So you saw a lot of different things. As somebody who's been in the game for a long time, what has been, from your standpoint, your key to just overcoming all of it and still being here today with some success?
I think it's the key to anything in life. It's resilience and just staying steady, head down. We all get kicked in the teeth a lot. I mean, that's real estate investing. That's life itself. Life's hard. It's just continue to pursue your dreams. Don't give up. I tell myself it's okay if I take a day where I feel bad for myself. And then the next day I'm like, all right, I'm done. We got to get going again. It's time to hustle again. And it will all pan out in the end. I know it will. Just may take time.
It always does. And again, you're able to work from Portugal. So there's worse things and worse places to be and different businesses to be in. So now your journey into real estate investing in 2018, can you tell us a little bit of how you transitioned into that and tell us a little bit about your real estate investing business?
Yeah, absolutely. And this story I think it's powerful for a lot of if you're a new investor or even if you're a seasoned investor, getting in the right rooms. I know you've probably talked about it a ton. That's exactly what happened. I got my real estate license here when we moved here in 2018 to Charleston, South Carolina from Boston. And because I asked my wife, I said, can I go for it? She said, yes, go for it. Supportive wife. Key number one, have a great partner in your life.
Yes.
Huge. So I started doing real estate and I met a lady at a piece of land, and she was buying it and she was an investor. So I was like, all right. So that kind of got me thinking the investment minded side of it. Now I've owned and sold a few houses, had some rental properties, but didn't really think of myself as an investor or that side of things. So then I looked up what's a local investor meetup, and 60 Bull Cafe, downtown Charleston. There were investors that would meet up there starting in late 2018. So I sat down having coffee with about 20 real estate investors. Little did I know, one of them now is my coach and my mentor and a good friend of mine. And she runs they're going to do 120 million in hard money loans this year.
Wow.
And then her partner and another friend of mine has 1.2 billion under management assets when it comes to multifamily car wash.
Well, it was B, right? B?
With a B.
Wow.
With a B, billion. And these are the people I'm sitting in the room. They're thinking of ideas like 20 levels higher than I was. And it just got me thinking like, wow, this is how these people talk. They're talking that big. And it just got that fire in me to believe in myself. I came from a corporate mind. I didn't really come from, like I can just do it on my own. And it was just powerful. And those people that were in that room, a lot of them I'm still friends with, and they're all successful in their own ways. The power of the proximity is unbelievable.
That's amazing. Amazing. So as you transitioned into real estate investing, what did that look like for you?
Yeah. So I started investing. Honestly, what I did, me and my brother-in-law, I was like, hey, you want to start building out our rental portfolio? It's now early 2019. And we found a duplex. It's just the area of North Charleston. I'm like, this just feels right to me just because the location. And we bought a duplex. I want to say it was like $80,000.
Wow.
And 2 houses on one part. It's now worth $400,000. We get about $3,000 a month in rent. I think we owe like 70 on it. And we just started buying up these $40,000 I didn't have a lot of money. Again, from Brockton, you said it. So like me and my partner were like, hey, we had a little bit of money. We got a line of credit is how we did it. And that line of credit, we just kept on buying and burring houses. Now, back then, a little bit easy to burr.
Yeah.
So that's how we got started, built a portfolio. And that's how I built my PFS personal financial sheet up to where it is today by buying these cheaper homes, fixing them up, renting them out. And now we're playing Monopoly. We're trading off some of those single family homes in the bad areas and starting to buy the multifamily or nice short-term rentals.
1031 exchanging and upgrading all your property and portfolio. Kind of pruning all the dead branches and trying to make room for new growth, right?
100%. Yeah.
Now, I know we talked a little bit offline about flipping and stuff like that. So with your business now, and I know you're getting a little bit out, you mentioned you're getting out of flipping, but like with your business now, are you just buying rentals and burring? Is that the only thing that you do in your house buying business?
I want to give a quick learning lesson, and this is why I kind of trimmed down everything. A few years ago, I was doing everything. I had a roofing company with some partners, coaching, real estate, flipping, just doing about 6 different things. And I was doing them all okay, but none of them great.
Yep.
So what I said the end of last year, coming into 2025, was like, I'm nixing a lot of this stuff. We're still flipping a few homes just to get those big chunks of money, but I'm focusing on, I got a real estate team, been doing that long enough. I got my team to do 90% of things. And then we're going all in on SynergyStays, which is our short-term rental revenue management company. And the reason why I did that was for a few different reasons. Number one, I believe in my partner, Mike, who's a revenue management genius at the business. It's new. He knows his stuff. He just does. He's good at it. He's a Boston guy too, by the way, Pats man. And I met him down here in Charleston though, but he just knows his stuff. So I believe in our service. I believe in where it's going, where the short-term rental business is going. And it's something I could do from Portugal. I could do it from anywhere in the world. Travel is important to me. It's one of my whys. And it's scalable. And so I was like, you know what? Let's get rid of all the noise. And let's just focus on 2 areas, one that we're already great at and one that I know we could be one of the industry leaders.
Awesome. All right. So before we get into your short-term rental management and short-term rental business, real quick, I'd like to know, because South Carolina obviously changed the law recently that you are not allowed to wholesale, but really you're not even allowed to pre-market any properties that you have under contract. You can't even really in double close anymore, which is crazy. So I'm curious, how are you getting your deals down there? How are you finding your properties?
Am I allowed to say this on air? I don't know. We could still get some off-market deals.
Okay.
You got to know the right people. You got to ask them, see if they have anything in the pipeline that maybe they don't want to hold on to. They're partnering more with people down here. But you're right. You can't, even as a real estate agent, you can't pre-market a home more than 24 hours. It's ridiculous. It doesn't help. Doesn't necessarily help the seller. They just put a law into place, to put a law into place. But you could still buy off-market deals. I've been telling a lot of my clients, you could still go on the MLS. Right now, the market's changing. We're seeing a shift. I don't care what industry you're in. You're seeing, most likely, most markets are seeing a little bit of a shift.
For sure.
I mean, our absorption rate's 3.9 in Charleston, means about 3.9 months to turn over the inventory currently right now. But normally at 6 months, it becomes a buyer's market. It's a buyer's market at 3.9 months because of where we're standing, where interest rates, everybody's frozen, the economy. So you could still get good deals on MLS.
Yeah,
Sorry?
that's great. Yeah, we're in the Northeast. We're out in 3 months, and it's definitely a buyer's market. I'm giving concessions all the time, and I'm lucky to get anything at asking or above asking these days. So I can relate to that. So I love that you touched on like doing 6 different things. None of them great. A lot of us in this industry, there's a lot of shiny objects that we get into. We want to do this, we want to do that. That's what's great about real estate, right? There's so many different niches that you could do, but the riches are in the niches. And as Gary Keller book says, really the one thing, you really want to just master one thing before you go to a second thing. And a lot of us don't master one thing. And that even includes just mastering our own market before we open up into a secondary market. I've been that person. So obviously you've cut back, you've skewed, your house buying business down there is doing really good. You've got it operating at a high level. And then you decided to shift it to short-term rentals. Tell us a little bit how you transitioned into that and where you're at now and where you're headed with it.
So I had a good friend of mine, my partner now, Mike. He came to me. He's like, he's got the short-term rental knowledge. I got the real estate knowledge. I got the business development knowledge. And he said, hey, let's go all in. Let's build this. At first, it was a full-service short-term rental property management company. And then after about 6 months, we realized all of our properties, so about 30 properties, nothing crazy, were all performing at the top of their market. And we saw the short-term rental game changing and shifting. It's turning into 2 different businesses. You got the hospitality guest experience side, and then you have the revenue management, maximizing your revenue. So the key operators, whether you're a property manager or investor, they understand you need to master both. And most people get in the short-term rentals because they love the hospitality guest experience. They don't get into it because they want to maximize their revenue, but they don't know all the intricacies and the algorithms and the cash flow rhythms to be able to do that. So we saw a niche that we can hop into. We got rid of the property management side and we're all in. We're about 300 and something units right now in 9 countries trying to just drive revenue, which is at the end of the day, that's what we want to do, to have that passive income to be able to live the life that we want to live.
So give us an idea more granular what that looks like.
Yep. So basically we go in and the first thing we do is we make sure your listing's optimized. Believe it or not, just like homes being sold on the MLS and Zillow, you still have people taking cell phone pictures. They're just not good quality pictures. It's ridiculous. In the short-term rental world, they're still doing it. And even with the iPhone 17, whatever we're on now, get a photographer that understands, short-term rentals. So it's the pictures, it's a picture order, it's the title, it's make sure you name all of your pictures, have a little title on all your pictures. Check off as many amenities as you can. They don't have to be a pool and a jacuzzi. It could just be your kid friendly. Get a bassinet, get a high chair, get a bunch of kids toy. Like check off as many of the boxes as you can, because that's going to optimize your listing and that's going to up your visibility. We have clients that start off on page 16. We do a few things for them. They drop down to page 2 and all of a sudden they're making more revenue and getting that revenue flow going. So that is key number one thing to do. You can price the best in the market. You can have an awesome product. If you don't market it properly, if you're not visible, you're just not going to sell.
Like anything else.
Like anything else. It's simple, but not everybody does it. Yeah. And then we take it from there. And the thing that we stand apart on is we have an actual revenue manager. So we use Price Labs. That's our data source. We pull all the data and we have a person making quantitative and qualitative decisions based on that data. And they're going to A/B test and continue to maximize. We're an occupancy forward company, meaning we want to get the occupancy going, the velocity of the occupancy going, and then you can gradually increase your average daily rate, your ADR. Ultimately, it's a combination of both of those. Some people will brag about, I'm booked out the entire month. Some people will brag about, I won't go under X amount per night. At the end of the day, you want to marry them together, and that's how you can maximize what's called your RevPAR, revenue per available room. And that's where you ultimately drive the most revenue for your property. And that's what we do on a constant basis. We have daily, weekly, and monthly cash flow rhythms in which we're A/B testing and tweaking things to try to get you to the top 10% of your market.
So most people, from my experience, that run short-term rentals or Airbnbs, that, as we call, facial tissue Kleenex these days, but short-term rentals, a lot of them get into it because they're like, oh, I have a secondary home. I'm going to get into, renting it out. And, 2 different things. One, I don't think they've realized it's very competitive. One, Two, there's a lot of areas that have changed regulations and some of them can disappear overnight. Three, I don't think they understand also the hospitality that's behind it. They think, oh, I'm just going to rent it out. And then, this person's complaining about A, B, and C the entire stay. There's a lot that goes into it, running it at a high level, professional level. And I think a lot of people are overwhelmed. Now, you're not managing any of these properties for them, but you're helping to drive the traffic, right? So you're not helping them with the cleaning, with the maintenance, or any of the lawn care, anything like that, correct?
Correct. We'll guide them to, if you're here in Charleston, we have several people we partner with, or certain other area locations around the states. We're happy to guide them on that, but we don't touch any of that. They handle that. We do come in and connect to their property management software, to Airbnb, VRBO. We kind of come in as a co-host, but no, we don't take care of the physical things on the property. But we do get recommendations to help them. Yes.
Okay. Yep. And great. And so why? So I guess for somebody who's got a short-term rental, they're going to pay you a percentage, I assume, right? To then maximize the amount of revenue and net profit that you can drive for any specific property. Is that correct?
Kind of. We actually do a flat fee. We're a flat fee service. But yeah, and that's tiered depending on how many units you have and bring to us. But we're a small flat fee. In most cases, we're under 5%, 3 to 5% or under, depending on how much revenue you bring in. Small flat fee, and we come in and we just think about it. The way I tell people is, if you focus on one thing all the time, and that's what you eat, sleep, and breathe, versus you go hire a property manager. I'm not bashing them, but most property managers have, some person in the corner that part-time looks at your property to kind of do your revenue management, maybe makes a few tweaks once a month, versus someone who's literally going to a conference last week on how to drive revenue for your short-term rental. Who are you going to trust more? So that fee, normally we book one night a month, 1.5. We're paying for ourselves more than where you were at. So yeah.
It's a good point. That's a good point. So, I assume you started this all at your local Charleston level, but now you mentioned you're in different countries around the world. Like, how did you get to that level?
We just been marketing through Facebook, Instagram, pushing that, building relationships. Relationship capital, as I started off saying, is so important. We have relationships with some property managers, some other investors that are in other markets that we're helping drive their revenue for them. So through the relationships, through marketing, and that's another reason. That's one of the reasons why we do revenue management as well versus property management. You have to have a team on the ground. We don't. We could pull a lot of the data through Price Labs and then also do some research online to know your market pretty quickly. And then from there, we could drive revenue anywhere.
So, I mean, for you guys, though, personally, as far as your business goes, it must be somewhat of a challenge to go into an area you don't know, get to learn that area, what drives revenue, what drives tourism, what drives the ability for stays. And then you have different currencies that you have to get paid with and all that back end stuff. So it must have taken you a little while to kind of work out all the kinks in that stuff as well for you guys, right?
I mean, at the end of the day, I trust Mike, my partner, is a revenue management genius. We have revenue managers. So they took it, they dove into those markets. They figured out how to quickly analyze a market and understand the trends. And honestly, it's done fairly quickly. In those first couple of weeks, we're understanding that market, and you're getting actually a Loom video from us on, hey, here's our strategy based on what we're seeing in your market and what we can do for you. And then we're partners. At the end of the day, in order to be successful, think of anybody you work with as a partner. Our clients will come to us and say, hey, I just want to make sure you understand these few things about the market. We've probably already seen it, but we work together and we have an onboarding form so we get as much data information as we can, and then we can now make informed decisions for that.
Well, it sounds like you guys definitely have a very unique niche here, because I've talked to a lot of people in this industry for a long time. I haven't heard anybody do this with short-term rentals before. What has you so passionate about it?
A few things. Number one, we're good at it. And just something that, as we talked about doing 6 different things, I take that back. We're great at it. And I could say that with confidence, like we continue to better ourselves. Do we make mistakes? Yes, but we A/B test, we make iterations. We don't just keep doing the same thing over and over again. And we're constantly growing to be better communicators. We have proprietary software, so there's transparency. You can log in and see how your property is performing. We have a lot of drip campaigns. We have different documents that go out to you to help you other areas of your property be able to maximize revenue or just operate a better short-term rental. So like we are constantly becoming better versions of ourselves, going around other revenue management experts to grow our knowledge in that industry. So that's what gets me excited, is it's something we can be absolutely great at, and it's something people need. They may not know about it just yet. Revenue management's a term that if you're a short-term rental investor, a property manager, you're starting to really hear more and more of it. There's only a few of us out there that really do it at a high level. And it feels good to be able to be in an industry where we're going to lead an industry as people are starting to hear about it and be, one of the greatest at it. So that's what drives me.
All right. I love it. Great answer. Amazing. So, I guess another question I have is like for your avatar, your client, right? Who is the type of client that's going to benefit from you the most? Who are you trying ideally to connect with for a client?
Yeah, great question, because we're starting to realize who we might not partner with and people who we can. I'm going to start by saying who's probably not the best fit. It's going to be someone who wants all of the control over their property. They can't digest that the markets change and alter. They have a minimum night stay that they refuse to go under, even though we're in the off season and we can get a 7-night stay a little bit lower than you're normally used to. Like, if you need to hold all that control and you're not willing to release some of that and understand that we are analyzing your market and making quantitative decisions, we're not the right fit for you. Our avatar is an investor with 2+ units that understands the hospitality side, wants to crush the guest experience, create this amazing experience for their guests, but they don't want to deal with understanding the algorithms of Airbnb or VRBO and having the time to be able to do the daily, weekly, monthly iterations to maximize that revenue. Also, property managers, any mid-sized to larger property manager, instead of hiring maybe one in-house revenue manager, you get a whole team for basically the price of one person to come in and focus solely on the revenue management so that you can lead your market on the hospitality side and you can leave it to us to drive that revenue for you. You don't even have to give us credit. I don't care. You just keep us behind the scenes and just be great at both sides of things.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, for a property management company, especially, a lot of them are doing a lot of business, right? To have you at a fraction of that cost and to outsource that at a high level is probably a lot better than what they can do in-house, even if they train the person for an extended period of time, because you're talking about two different things. You're talking about a professional business as opposed to somebody just doing it for a job.
100%. I mean, I see it all the time is they're really good at that guest experience. And if you don't, like we talked about, market shifts, technology shifting, if you don't keep up with it, you're going to fall behind. So whether it's us or someone else, or you truly want to train your own revenue management team, you need to take the revenue management side of that business seriously, whether you're an investor or a manager, in order to really succeed at a high level in this market.
All right. Awesome. I a few more questions here before we wrap up. Here at the end of 2025, we're going into 2026, and Airbnb, the largest probably short-term rental platform company in the world, has decided to change the way things are going to be paid. It's quite a shock. Now the host is now going to be getting a lot less per night because their costs are going to go up, whereas the guest who's booking the stays, their costs are going to go down. How do you foresee that changing their short-term rental market going forward?
We're seeing this throughout, and my partner and I were talking about this. We're probably going to see a little bit of a lag. You're going to get the people who aren't paying a lot of attention to that, maybe not make the adjustments for that 15.5% adjustment there. Some people aren't making that adjustment. The majority of investors and managers are making the adjustment. So I think what we're going to see is a little bit of a lag. You're going to see maybe a little bit of slowness in what we're seeing on the occupancy, on that revenue side of things. But we're already seeing it start to shift after about I think it was in mid-October this happens. So we're about 2 months in, we're already seeing that start to shift. People are implementing that extra 15.5% fee into their
bookings.
Yeah, in the bookings, so that we're seeing that level out right now.
But from our, it's a strange situation, right? Because 15.5% is extremely high. For most Airbnb owners, that could be all of their profit, if not more. Right. And then you got some people, everybody has a different cost per night, or what does, with debt and, taxes, insurance, and all the other costs that go along with it. Right. You may be competing with somebody in the same neighborhood that owns their house free and clear, and their costs are much, much less. And they're not changing their nightly rate, but you have to survive. And now the guests are going on and they're seeing, oh my God, that used to be $200 a night. Now it's $250 a night, and it's going to cost us $1,000 more a week to stay there. Is that going to be tough for some people to overcome, you think?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, just like in any market, you're going to have some people that can't afford to do it. And quite frankly, those are probably the people that bought into it just thinking it was going to be easy, just that cash flow game. What we're seeing in the market right now for short-term rentals is kind of a K-shaped recovery right now. So you're seeing the luxury units really go. Actually, they're driving revenue and actually doing better. And those mid-tier accommodation style units are starting to be affected more because the market's being flooded with those type of units. Those types of units, for the most part, aren't standing out when it comes to the guest experience. Those types of things are going to help combat against the issues here. If you can give an experience to someone, unlike your other competitors, that fee's not going to matter. They'll pay a little bit extra to get that better experience. Let me just give you a quick number that I don't think a lot of people think of. There are 365 nights in a year. Let's just say you want to book 300 nights. Your average length of stay is 3 nights. You only need 100 people to book your place over the course of a year.
Right.
So you can niche down and get so specific on, you can have a Star Wars theme in an area, maybe that'll pop, whatever it is, but you could niche down and have such a great experience that you're like, wait, but I'm not appealing to the masses. Who cares? Appeal to people that are coming to your area where you could stand out, and you're not going to have to worry about the little increase in that fee because you're going to be driving, 2 times the revenue that your competitors are doing because they're not really competing. They're not creating that experience. So that's what I tell our clients is go create that experience that people are willing to pay that little bit extra for. And that's how you can combat against those extra fees, CapEx, insurance, etc. Yeah.
Tremendous advice. Why do you think Airbnb did that from your professional opinion?
I honestly don't know. I think they're just trying to shift things to make it cleaner when it comes to when a guest books. They want to make it more transparent, not those extra fees that kind of hit on the back end.
Sure.
So I think it's that transparency. Airbnb's been a lot more, I'm going to be careful. They've been a lot more friendly to guests than hosts.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well.
And that time and time again, this is just another step for them to be more appealing to a guest. I mean, it's becoming a chat in the industry when you're trying to. The problem is Airbnb is one of the biggest platforms.
Sure.
One of the best platforms to drive revenue.
Yeah.
However, they're competed against those hosts. I want to see how long this goes for before you start to see other platforms kind of stand up. But you're seeing a lot more people trying to get more direct bookings. VRBO is starting to compete. They're adding more levers to pull on their end. They used to be very basic. They're starting to try to compete a little bit with Airbnb. I think people are going to start to see, just like in any industry, if Airbnb goes too far and swings too much towards the guest and doesn't help out with the host, we're going to see more of these OTAs probably start to step up as well as direct bookings.
I think that's some good insight by you. So, going back to your business, and as we wrap up this podcast, the people that we talked about, that avatar, that client who have 2 or more, those management companies that are listening, how should they get in contact with you to learn more about your services to make sure you're the right fit for them or not? Yeah,
they can hit us up at our website's SynergyStaysLocal.com. That's SynergyStaysLocal.com. And you can also follow us on social media at SynergyStays. You can hit us up that way, whatever's easier. But we'd love to chat with you. We can do revenue projections, talk to you a little bit about like what your portfolio looks like, the potential it's at, whether you're an investor. If you're looking to buy a short-term rental, we can analyze a deal for you. I mean, there's a lot of different value adds that we can do to you. So just reach out to us. We're happy to just chat.
That's amazing. Obviously, we'll put all that in the show notes. So one of the things I like to ask, the name of the show is REI Freedom, freedom through real estate investing. You're in Portugal right now. You're not chained to some desk in Boston or Brockton or Charleston. Is looking outside of a cubicle, right? Like so many people do. And we get into real estate for that freedom. But freedom in real estate investing means so many different things for so many different people, right? It could just be time. It could be money. It could be something else. I always like to ask our guests when what does REI freedom mean to them? And I'd like to know with you, Dan, like, what does freedom of real estate investing mean for you?
It just means I can do whatever I want, whenever I want, wherever I want at the end of the day. I don't want to retire. I'm not looking to not work. I think passive income is kind of I don't know if it's real. Like you always have to have some activity, whether it's following up with managers and invest, whatever the case is. Like you always have to be somewhat active, but if you could do it from anywhere in the world, anytime, I could see my daughter. I'm really big into family. I want to be able to go to all my daughter's recitals, soccer games, whatever she's doing, all my son's sports or whatever he does. I want to, they're young, 6 months and 4 years. But as they grow up, I want to be in their life, every single part of their life. That's all that matters to me. And then be able to work on my time, on my terms. That's what it means.
Dude, I couldn't agree with you more. That's exactly what it means for me as well, man. And there's not too many things out in the world like real estate that can provide you the ability to do that as well as the income to live the lifestyle you want to. So amazing. Dude, I really appreciate having you on today. Learned a lot. You brought a lot of value today for the listeners. I can't thank you enough. It's just a great episode. Thank you so much. We'll obviously drive as much traffic as we can your way. Is there any parting words you'd like to say before we end this podcast?
No, last thing I like to say to everybody is just believe in yourself. You could do big things. It takes as much energy to do something small as it does to do something big. So go do something big.
Think big, think big, think big. Awesome. Dan, thank you so much for being on the show today. Guys, that's another episode here at the REI Freedom Podcast. A lot of great insight. We talked about, just focusing on one thing, right? And not 6 things. We looked at how you can drive your short-term rentals to drive more revenue, and what also some of the challenges that can be with owning a short-term rental and everything else. Dan brought a lot of insight. I highly recommend you guys go to SynergyStays.com to learn more and connect with them for all your short-term rental owners or soon-to-be owners. So that's it for this week. We will see you next week. Again, remember, real estate investing is a life of freedom, of time freedom, financial freedom, but none of it matters unless you take massive and perfect action. We'll see you guys next week.
Join us on our journey to achieve ultimate freedom through real estate investing. We understand that the road to success isn't easy, but together we can overcome any challenge. Please subscribe, rate, and review our podcast to help us grow and reach more aspiring individuals. Visit our website to access additional resources and join our email list. Follow us on social media at REI Freedom for more updates. If you're interested in our acquisition coaching programs, visit reifreedom.com for more information. Let's go.